How's it going, my dudes? Welcome back to another video. I have made so many videos since the past 2 months of me playing this game, but there is one video that I have not made, and that is a newbie guide. So the reason why I stayed away from making a newbie guide for so long is because I didn't really understand the game when I first started. I didn't have a lot of JP or Taiwan experience like some of the other creators had, so I wasn't confident in producing something that I wasn't sure of. So now that I have a little bit more experience, and frankly speaking, I am not the best player out there, but here are my thoughts on what I think a new player like yourself should be focusing on to maximize your time in the game. So when you begin, of course, what everyone thinks of is the summoning portal. What I would suggest to you is if you are not in a hit banner, and when I say a hit banner, I mean like it's a very highly rated banner. If you are not in a highly rated banner like we are right now, then I'd highly suggest you just do maybe 1 or 2 rolls, and if you didn't get anything great from the 2 rolls, go ahead and re-roll. Link at the top, you can check out how to reroll really quickly. So hopefully from here on you have a solid team. I will talk a little bit more about what a solid team is in the future, but for now let's just assume that you have that. Now next, what you're gonna have to do is to clear your story as far as possible, because with each story chapter clear, you actually unlock various bosses, and these bosses can be done on co-op, and these are extremely important especially for resource grinding. There are a total of 7 different bosses up to Yamato. This is not completed as of yet, so we don't know whether there's going to be a new boss, but I think there is going to be one. So after clearing all your story, you can then go to boss battle, and you can actually see all the different co-op bosses that you can fight, and each of these co-op bosses actually give you items that you can purchase from the item shop. Now of course, depending on the difficulty that you're facing, you can get different kinds of coins, and with those kinds of coins you can then buy different rewards. So as a new player, I would highly suggest that you clear out the shops every single month. That is a high priority. Get everything, right? You can get all the tier 4 mats, tier 3, tier 2, tier 1. You can get units, you can get armaments, which are the equipments in the game. You can get Astral Gems, which is what you can use to limit break your character without actually pulling a dupe of it. You can even get up to a 5-star Astral Shard, which combines into an Astral Gem. I would suggest that you clear everything except for maybe just EXP. I would highly suggest you collect the mana and the Dreamer's Crest and everything else. Nonetheless, this requires a shit ton of grind, and it is gonna be your day-to-day life in the game itself, right? Now you might be thinking, so I just need to grind so much, right? But where do I get the stamina to run? Because, for example, Orochi takes you 18 stamina, Administrator currently takes you 16 stamina, and etc, etc. You're not gonna be able to have all that stamina to finish every single shop throughout each month, right? Because the shop resets every single month. And that's where the green bell comes in. So if you take a look at the top left, right on time, we do have a green bell. You can actually join any of the bosses that people are requesting for help with 0 stamina cost. So you just need to join them for free. This is technically what I do every single day. I just sit around while I'm doing my work, and then I just wait for bells. If the bell comes, I just join the fight, rinse and repeat. So you can technically get infinite mana and infinite EXP this way. And that brings me to the next point. If you go to home, after clearing I think chapter 2 or chapter 3, you will unlock the Kaleidoscope, and you will have the elemental Kaleidoscope. So there is the fire, water, thunder, wind, light, dark, and the EXP and mana Kaleidoscope. So here are my thoughts on these. If you are a new player, your main focus should always be the boss shops. You do not want to spend your energy here, because I think that the rewards are not as good as just buying directly from the boss shops, for several reasons. Okay, number 1, you can run bosses for free, and number 2, you can select the exact precise material that you need from the boss shop. However, all this is just random, but nonetheless, I would still recommend that you do 3 daily Kaleidoscope runs, because you get twice the rewards each time. So only when your boss shops are completed, then should you do this. So that means that if you have to use your own stamina to clear the boss shop, go ahead and use your own stamina. It is well worth it. The Kaleidoscope, EXP and mana over here, this is quite garbage. I've said before, if you do bells, you can get unlimited mana and unlimited EXP. You don't want to waste your precious stamina on stuff like this. And in fact, the reward is not even great. I think it's like 1000 mana each run. That's like a standard boss run. So you're only going to do this just to collect the lodestar beads that come with this. But your main priority is definitely going to be the rest of the Kaleidoscopes over here, if you do have spare stamina outside of boss runs. This is also the screen where you unlock events. So events come by quite frequently. I think every 2 weeks there'll be something new. I would highly recommend that you clear the events as well. So as you can see, currently we are in the Valentine's event, and if you go to item exchange, you will see a ton of stuff, and these stuff are well worth your stamina. So I would go ahead to clear this up as much as possible, and whenever you can get staminate flasks, which is basically your stamina refills, go ahead and get it. Very worth your time and effort. Now, I don't want to spend too much time focusing on team building for this video, so I'm just going to discuss like some of the basic stuff that you may ask as a new player. So if you take a look at my team over here, it's not strictly completely water. There are a good mix of other elements. So not just for this team, maybe like some other teams, not this. This team, for example, there is a mixture of light, there is a mixture of wind, there's a mixture of water. Over here as well, there's a mixture of fire and wind. So you don't need to run a mono team to excel in this game, because all that matters is the proper team synergy. And sometimes you can only obtain a team synergy that you need via breaking mono element. For example, here I'm using Suzu because she's a thunder type, and I am equipping the Whitetail's Axe over here, which requires thunder units for its effect to take place. So do take note that if you see armaments such as this, the mentioned element here needs to be a main. So for example, Suzu is a main, Rams over here is a sub. Rams doesn't actually boost your Whitetail's Axe, but Suzu does. So you want to pay attention to that. That's very important. I think that's like the main takeaway in terms of team building. And next, of course, you have the race level area. This is called the Point Pod. Now, you will stock up a ton of EXP along the way, especially if you're doing a lot of bells. So how do you use these effectively, right? Do you just throw all of it onto your main team, or what do you do with it, right? Frankly, my suggestion is if your main team can survive, if your main team is able to do enough damage, if your main team can clear the story, you don't really need to drop these EXP on them. You can just get EXP through boss runs. So you can then save these EXP points to, like, let's say level up some characters that you have not maxed out, which you think you can use in the future. So for example, I have let's say Rebecca, right? I hardly ever use Rebecca other than using a specific team. So I can actually go ahead and max her out this way. So that next time when I do use her, she can be a bit more powerful. But honestly, 97 to 100, there is barely any difference over there. And really quickly, I get this question a lot. So who should you level up to 100 first? Honestly speaking, level 100 goes to the character that does the most damage for you, because levels really matter for them. And which characters should you max their mana boards first? Honestly, generally speaking, you can rely on the video at the top, but my main focus will be support units. And another question that you might have is, how should I use my Astral Gems, right? Because they seem like a very precious resource. Okay, so for your 3-star Astral Gems, just go crazy. We just pump it on anyone, right? So for example, Luluka over here, okay, no, she's already maxed. So let's say Kama Itachi, yeah, okay, so Kama Itachi, his max level is level 55. I do not have enough dupes to push him to 100. Let's say if I'm gonna use him, you know what, I can just use it. It doesn't really matter. 3-star Astral Gems come by very frequently. 4-star is quite frequent, especially if you have been about 1 or 2 months in. You can have like an excess of 4-star Astral Gems like I do. But you can also find 3-star Astral Gems from the Trove sometimes. So let's say you go to the shop over here, you can go to the Trove, and sometimes you may get a 3-star Astral Gem. I did not get one today, but if you're lucky, you can get 5. And that costs about 100,000 mana, which sounds a lot, but to be honest, if you bell every single day and like maybe every 10 minutes or so, you're gonna rack up a lot of excess mana anyway. So the only Astral Gem that I think that you should be more concerned about in maintaining is just gonna be the 5-star Astral Gem. 4-star, you can, like I said, you can just use it on any character that probably you use for now, like maybe Sushiro, Rams, Elia, Alice maybe. But as you can see, I am reserving my 5-star Astral Gems for a very specific reason, and the only units that I think that you should use these very limited items on are limited characters. So limited characters like your Christmas banner units, your Halloween banner units, your New Year's, your half anniversary, your anniversary units. These units, they require Astral Gems because you're probably not going to be able to get 5 dupes from the banner during the event itself. So you're going to have to make up for it, and these guys, they are not that frequent. They come by in events and monthly boss shop resets, but it's not in high quantity. So as a beginner, you may be lacking these as well, the Dreamer's Crests. These items are super rare at the beginning because you just cannot find them, right? Because doing boss shops, they only give you like 2 per boss per month, which is really low. You need about, like, I think this is just a rough gauge, about 30 Dreamer's Crest just to max out one single unit, I think. But you can unlock a high quantity of them by going to the Kaleidoscope itself. So as you can see over here, the 3rd banner, the Kaleidoscope Necropolis, you can unlock this after clearing a certain stage in the story. I'm not exactly sure where, but it's not that hard to get to this stage. And from here, you will unlock a ton of new different bosses. They are actually a series of boss fights. There are 3 different stages, and each showcases a different kind of boss. Okay, the 3 stages only apply to, I think, the depths 2 and 3. I don't think it applies to the depths 1. I think there's only 2 stages there. So as you can see, in the depths 1, you can get the Dreamer's Crest here, and they do drop really frequently. And this Necropolis itself also dropped a special kind of armament set. So you have the Fire Sword over here, the Thunder Hammer, you have the Wind Bowl, etc, etc, etc. And the drop rates on these are obviously going to increase per difficulty. So if you're going to do a level 50 Water Necropolis, you're probably going to have a 3% chance of getting the armament. If you do the level 60, you're going to have a 6% chance, and if you do the level 71, you're going to have a 9% chance. The probability applies to every single Kaleidoscope Necropolis. But in order for you to beat these stages, your team is going to have to be quite strong. So I would highly suggest that maybe you can focus on the depths too, so that's the level 60 difficulty, for every single one of these until you can comfortably defeat the level 70 ones. And if you need help with the Kaleidoscope, you can always refer to my videos at the top. That's just for one element. There are so many different elements. There are 6 different elements over here. So this is probably where your first objective is going to be. I think the main bosses can be cleared quite easily. This is going to be something quite challenging, but after this, that's when you move on to the EX difficulty of your co-op bosses. But I'm not going to discuss the EX bosses because that is not for newbies. In fact, I was already pushing it by discussing the Necropolis. But that's just to give you a flavor of what you should expect, what your goals should be. I think it's very important that you know exactly what you are trying to achieve every single day in order for you to not feel burnt out like I. So like I've been playing for 2 months religiously every single day and I don't feel burnt out at all. In fact, I feel like I enjoy the game even more every single day. And probably my final tip for you is if you really need somewhere to get advice, to learn a little bit more about the game in a little bit more closely knit space, you can go ahead to join my Discord, link down in the description, and we have a ton of players over there who are very willing to help you out with any of your questions that you may have. So that's a great place to start your journey. This is the newbie's guide. So save up your beats, save up your EX story as well. Some players do this, right? They have the EX over here, but they don't do it yet. They're waiting for a specific high tier banner to drop before getting these beats from the stages. So yeah, save up those beats, wait for a very good banner, drop all your beats, hopefully you get a good unit. The moment you get one piece of the unit, that's it, okay? You can just build. So like if there is that one single unit that you really want, you don't need to have multiple copies of it, you can just use Astral Gems. But anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. So with that said, this has been free to play by the way. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up on the video, it really helps the channel. And as always, I will see you in the next video.